Welcome to Event Explorer, the podcast where we go behind the scenes of the world's best festivals and events and hear from the founders and directors who make them happen. I'm your host, Daniel Roth. I'm a festival fan, event aficionado, and a lover of public displays of culture of any kind. Now, every May, Memphis, Tennessee becomes a global gathering place, a month of music, barbecue, culture, and celebration known as Memphis in May. It's one of the most influential civic festivals in the country, bringing hundreds of thousands of people to the riverfront and spotlighting the soul of this great city. In this episode, I sit down with Kevin Grothe, Executive Vice President of Memphis in May, who's been shaping the festival for more than 20 years. We talk about how the event began as a way to unite the city and how it's grown into a cultural and economic powerhouse, and then what's ahead as Memphis in May approaches its 50th anniversary. From pitmaster showdowns and international partnerships to student exchanges and citywide pride, Kevin gives us a look at how a single organization brings Memphis to the world and the world to Memphis. Now, if you're enjoying Event Explorer, please subscribe, leave a review, and send me a note, daniel@eventexp.org. I'd love to hear which festivals you want to hear about next. All right, let's get into it and talk to Kevin as we visit Memphis in May. Welcome back. Kevin Grothe is the Executive Vice President of Memphis in May International Festival, and for nearly 2 decades, he's helped steer this iconic series of events into one of the most ambitious and impactful civic celebrations in the U.S. Before we get into this year's takeaways and his long history in the festival, I'm going to ask Kevin to kind of kick us off with a big picture view, because Memphis in May isn't just one event. It's a whole month of music, food, there's fitness, there's a big international portion. Kevin, welcome to Event Explorer, and let's have you tackle that big question first. What is Memphis in May?
Well, Memphis in May can really be a lot of different things for a variety of reasons and for a variety of people. To some, it is all about the music, which is very important to the culture and history of Memphis, the city itself. To some, it's all about the barbecue. We like to claim that we're the barbecue capital of the world, and our festival helps stamp that to be very true here in Memphis. For others, it's enjoying the riverfront, and so we have a running race that takes in some of the most beautiful views of the mighty Mississippi River. And one of the main missions of Memphis in May is to promote international awareness. So we, along with our partners with the Chamber of Commerce, select a honored country that we salute each year. So I'm not saying that we're the smartest event producers, because what we decided to do was to put all these major activities within a 4-week window, where most people would try to spread that out over a 52-week window. We cram and go from one event to the next, which makes for a wonderful month for the visitors and for civic pride. It's just a very taxing and stressful time on the event production side of it.
Were these events that your organization built from scratch, or were they already kind of happening and you brought them together?
No, we were founded in 1977, and in the first year, the Beale Street Music Festival was established. Year 2, we established the World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest. And then around 10 years ago, we retired one event. You know, you always have to keep evolving. We retired the Sunset Symphony, and we created the Great American River Run. We just saw that fitness activities were really growing in popularity, so we wanted to include one in our array of events.
And there's no better group of hungry people than those who've just finished a marathon, I'm guessing. Tell me about this year. Let's kind of go through each of those and let's talk about the planning. I mean, I imagine you guys have kind of a executive oversight, and then you have teams. How does that structure work, and who are the people kind of in charge of each of those pieces?
Sure. We have around 5 to 6 full-time staff members that work 12 months, and then we will hire seasonal staff as we get closer, whether it's for a 2 to 3 month period or even for just the month of May. And then we rely heavily on hundreds of volunteers. We probably had close to 400 volunteers be a part of the festival this season. So collectively, we work together to attract um, tens of hundreds of thousands of people each year. And it's been a structure that has worked well for the festival for nearly 50 years.
Incredible. So let's look at the barbecue championship. Let's start off
Yeah.
with that. I know, yeah, we've heard Memphis is the heart of that. Kind of how does that drawn out of the culture of Memphis, and how does the city come and become a part of it? How does Memphis express itself really through this culinary festival, right?
Yeah, barbecue has grown in popularity and more than just eating it at a restaurant. Like, there are so many people now who want to learn the craft of barbecue. And while they may not want to compete at the level of a Memphis in May, they will want to strive to have the best barbecue in their neighborhood, right? Amongst their friends. So with that has really opened up the door to our event evolving over the 47 years that it's been in existence, from being just a pure contest to a pure barbecue experience. Yes, the competition is fierce and there's a lot of money on the line. There's $190,000 in prize money, probably the largest trophy that you will ever see, and bragging rights galore. A lot of careers have been launched due to the fact that they won at Memphis in May. So you will see lots of pitmasters who have won and have competed, have been able to take this opportunity and make it a business, whether they're created their own rubs or sauces, maybe they're restaurants, maybe endorsement deals. There's been a lot of money generated by competing and winning at Memphis in May. But now we have the opportunity to take it to the next level, and that is the consumer experience, which is what we've worked on very hard over the last few years. Because as I said, people want to duplicate as close as they can championship level barbecue. And so whether they're using one of their grills in the backyard, it may not be a smoker as large as what you might see at Memphis in May, but you're going to see a wide array of different grills in people's backyards that where you can do shoulders and pork ribs and briskets and everything else, and have an incredible experience to where everybody leaves your house bragging about your barbecue.
So there's an educational kind of element that you're adding in here too. How did that come about?
Yeah, we have some wonderful partners that have been with us. One of the lead partner sponsors is Home Depot, and we had been working with them, and some of their corporate executives came in um, from Atlanta and to check out the event, and they walked away extremely impressed and had the vision and said, "Would you work with us? We want to position ourselves as the leading outdoor uh, experience for consumers." Uh, and so they work with their vendors, their partners in the stores, grill manufacturers, furniture, pizza ovens, all of that that you can imagine, different fuels, charcoal, pellets, all of that. And they program every hour a different demonstration with a pitmaster, some of which are competing at Memphis in May, some of which just are culinary experts that are hired um, by the grill manufacturer or like a charcoal manufacturer. And then afterwards, so those are free and open to the public. After the demonstrations, the public can come up, meet with these pit masters, culinary experts, celebrities, and try the barbecue that they did as part of the demonstration. So you get the best of all worlds, not even both worlds. You're getting to learn, you're getting to meet and greet, and you're getting to eat barbecue. And you can't
Mhm.
find a better situation than to do that. And there are a lot of other partners who are also
Sure.
putting on different demonstrations to show off the impact that barbecue has had on our society.
I to that point, and I'm just struck, so cool to hear about the evolution and it becomes equalized among you may be the guy down the block can make a brisket that can
Yeah.
rival, you need smoke, you need time, you need a good cut of meat. But I'm also thinking about so this is what, early '70s when the barbecue competition and Memphis, it's a bit of hot climate, it's a hot political climate, and this must have been a kinda galvanizing, bringing people together event even in its beginning. Is that what do you know
Very
about the
true.
history there?
Very, very true. The whole reason that Memphis in May is in existence today was back in the 70s. The community leaders, the founders, were trying to help revitalize downtown, bring the community together, all walks of life together.
Mhm.
And this festival was created to do that. And it has done that and continues to do it almost 50 years later. The economic impact that the festival has on the city is just enormous. Um, the teams, as an example, themselves, we had from 4 different countries and almost 25 different states come in. That doesn't even include all of the consumers who are coming from all over the world also to come and experience Memphis's culture and Memphis's craft of barbecue. So it started as a way to unite, and it still unites our community today. It is a bright spot, a source of civic pride for our
Sure.
community. Everywhere you go around, when people when they say Memphis in May, when they hear the term Memphis in May, nothing but positive vibes come from that, and they love to share their Memphis in May stories.
So I imagine you work, kinda hand in hand with the city and the Convention and Visitors Bureau. How do you, kinda put the word out or try to, expand the reach? I know you must be doing social media now,
Right.
but, visiting other cities and kind of making partnerships. How do you kinda keep this audience being drawn in?
Right. Well, obviously, social media plays a critical part now, right? And that helps a great deal because you can be very targeted with your messaging and who you're reaching for that. So we have, Twitter and Facebook and, Instagram, all the we what you would expect. And the website still drives a lot of traffic. Word of mouth is huge. Doing podcasts like yours, Daniel, has really become something in the last year or two. There are a lot of barbecue podcasts out there, so that has been very fascinating to us. We've invited some of those individuals to our event. We've been on their shows, so we're constantly looking to expand our brand. And as was brought up earlier, we have an international salute. And so this past year, we honored the country of South Korea, the Republic of South Korea, and they have a global barbecue festival, which I went and attended last October.
Oh, I'm jealous.
It
I'm
was an
jealous.
amazing experience. And now they came this past May, 2 different cities came. There were 44 different individuals from the 2, including 2 mayors, that came as part of the delegation from South Korea that spent a week here, as well as a couple of TV stations. So the art and craft of barbecue has no boundaries, and that is a perfect example. And they helped us crown our world champion. So it only made sense for associations such as this to um, come together, work together to promote barbecue. And now we're working also with different sanctioning bodies of contests. Two main sanctioning bodies that we're working very closely with is the Rib Cook-Off Association and the Champions Barbecue Alliance. One's out of Oklahoma, one's out of Texas, but collectively they're both sanctioning dozens, over 100 events, some here in the States, some international, which fits nicely. So
Yeah.
those kind of partnerships help keep us fresh, top of mind. And now we're working on a partnership with the World Food Championships. And we think that there's going to be some amazing opportunities for us to work together. So I think the future is very bright. We're being aggressive, thinking outside the box. How do we continue to be one of the premier barbecue contests on the planet?
Sure, sure. Yeah, Memphis as the brand, or what is Memphis known for, externally. And it is one of those cities that has a certain um notoriety, in a good way for its name, like a New Orleans or a San Francisco, it's a food town. You're going to go there and get something that you can't get anywhere else. And that gives you a nice, in the best way, a kind of authority
Yeah.
to enter these fields. How cool is that? And I'm the idea of the international connection of barbecue is really cool. Like I love Korean barbecue. It's a different format, but similar flavors, and I imagine the two can influence each other. On the idea of the international salute in South Korea this year, but then how long has that been going back? And is it always focused on food, or has it been different elements?
No, so what we'll do is take the honored country and incorporate it in lots of different ways. Part of it is also geared and centered around how can Memphis businesses do business in that honored country and vice versa. Obviously, with FedEx being headquartered right here,
Mhm.
that's a great connector for anybody, and they've been tremendous supporters of the festival over the years. And it's only logical that they would be involved in that
Sure.
type of salute, and where we're working with the chamber to try to help drive business, recruit businesses. Matter of fact, when uh, the very first country that we saluted nearly 50 years ago was Japan, and shortly thereafter, Sharp Manufacturing came to Memphis. So we have a long history of uh, bringing businesses here, at least connecting people, and so where they can do business with one another. So in addition, there's been an education component of the international salute, as well as cultural awareness, whether it be through exhibits, curriculum with city schools, all of that, creating artwork for posters, uh, music, bringing that in, doing shows. So we've tried to take the salute and make it really encompassing for our community. We like to use the phrase, we're bringing the world to Memphis and Memphis to the world.
That makes a lot of sense, and, I think I remember, the influence of a similar curriculum, on my school when I was younger. So the kids of Memphis, as they grow up, they kinda this becomes a touchstone in their lives, that they know more about South Korea than any other country when they're 8 years old or 10 years old.
One of my favorite stories to share, years ago, we honored uh, South Africa,
Mhm.
and we sent a dozen students over there on a cultural exchange, Daniel, and they actually got to meet Nelson Mandela and had their picture taken with them. And we have that picture in our office. And I look at that every so often and just think, wow, what an opportunity for a 16, 17-year old to have to meet somebody as impactful as
Yes.
Mr. Mandela was in the world.
Yeah, completely inspiring, and I lived over there for a little time. They have their own barbecue history
Yes,
as
they
well.
do.
Did any Was any of that featured? The braai and the, um
On that particular, that was before my time. That when
okay.
obviously when
Yeah,
Mr.
early '90s.
Mandela was yeah, still alive. So I don't think all of that salute portion came together as far as
Sure.
the barbecue 20 plus years ago.
But this particularly has to do with the power of an event to push out into a city and have a larger influence
Mhm.
even in the world. You know, what an event can do as a galvanizing point for other people to say, "Yeah, well, we'll bring in our aspect here." Or, "Yeah, we're willing to put some funds behind this and put some time into this," because it's kinda centered around a good time, right?
Mhm.
You know, they know they're gonna go down there and everyone's gonna have a smile on their face.
Yep.
It's, you know, even to the business world, it's a way to have a less stressful kind of, entrance into the world of Memphis.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we take a lot of pride in is, uh, we get to show off our city gets to show off to the world, and that is, at the end of the day, the most pleasing. We put our worries behind us for a few hours, for a few days, a few weeks, and during the month, and let's highlight all the good that is happening, not only just here in Memphis, but across the world, and that's what has made, our international festival, so popular.
Very cool. Take me through, so this month is a bit hectic. You're on the other side of it now. Looks
Yes.
like you've got a little bit of rest. You're looking good. W what is kinda leading up to it and the month, what's the schedule look like for you and your team and then for attendees over the weeks? Like, kinda how are things scheduled out so as people look towards 2026, they can kinda plan their visit?
So it's kinda like a roller coaster, right?
Okay.
So, if you're to look at a 12-month cycle, the summer, you got this slow incline and it's going up and up and up. And then you get to about the first of the year, you're at the peak of it, and then it's like, phew, and you're rushed down at an unbelievable amount of speed, and you blink and it's over, right? Yeah, like you plan and put so much time and energy, and yet it still goes so fast. Um, we live fairly normal lives for 6 months, and then the other 6 months, it is a slow ramp up to where then you end up working, the crazy 16, 20-hour days, which is pretty common in the, event world, right? But you do it because you love it. We you often use the phrase, "Daniel, if you wanna enjoy the event, buy a ticket." Because our job is for others to enjoy it. I mean, and
Yep.
we don't mean that disrespectful, but we use it as a reminder that we're not putting this on for us to enjoy all the great barbecue or to listen to a Cardi B or to visit with the delegation of South Africa or South Korea, as the case was this past year. Our job is to make sure Memphis shines and that everyone who comes through the gates, however we're touching them, that they have an enjoyable experience and they walk away saying, "I want to come back." And that's what we work towards, uh, collectively as a group. And here just recently, while it was fresh in our minds, we do something every year. We call it a 10-10 list, Daniel. And what it is what are 10 things that went well, and what are 10 things that we could do that we could improve upon? Doesn't mean that they weren't successful.
Sure.
Now, on my list, I had some things that I thought worked well, but then I also saw some things where we could have improved on. Maybe it was something new that we incorporated, and I thought it was extremely popular, but I also see where we could make it even better. It might be small little tweaks. It might be something a little more major that we noticed in hindsight. That Monday morning quarterbacking is always very easy to do. We do the same thing here, but we put that list together so that it gives us a roadmap to start because there's another event saying, I love to throw these out there, so hopefully I don't bore you with these, but there's another event saying that goes something like this. There's nothing that can't be fixed with either money or time. Well, a lot of festivals are very short on money. And if you don't start to plan ahead of time, you're going to run out of time, right? So if you don't address some things 6, 9, 10 months out, you're going to be running down the same path that you just completed, right? So some of these things that we might want to incorporate really need to start. And I know there's a couple of new elements that I really want to see us to be involved in, and I'm already having conversations. I've had a couple already on a new element that we might add to our festival. What I hope it could come together, don't know, but we won't know if we don't start that now, because they could be major additions for our barbecue contest.
And I mean, with your experience, put in the work now,
Yeah.
and the results are gonna shine later and result in a great experience for your fans.
Yes.
One thing that's been a couple years now, or an extra year in the making is the Beale Street Music
Yeah.
Festival. So you're gonna be bringing that back in 2026. Tell me a little bit about, I mean, we've heard of Beale Street.
It's
It's the
iconic.
real
Yeah.
it's the real home of the blues, and, that's what they say, right? If, pack up your stuff and go to Nashville because you can't make it on Beale Street. So what's the history of that festival a little bit,
Yeah.
and how are you gonna come back with a bang in 2026?
Yeah. So, after COVID, the festival and the music industry really changed a lot. It was already trending to be very expensive. The model of a music festival is you're booking lots of different artists, packaging them together as part of your festival. And collectively, the idea was for a very good ticket price, you can see lots of different artists, maybe some that you're familiar with, maybe some that you've never been exposed to, but you're like, okay. And then you end up liking them. And some of those artists then take off and hit it big. The cost of booking talent just is so enormous that in 2023, I think we ended up spending almost like $4.5 million on talent alone. That's not stage, security, trailer, all the other things, light, sound, that go into producing a music festival. And so our ticket sales, and we try to be very affordable. We're very conscious of that. Um, but our ticket sales declined for a 2-year period to where we lost some substantial money. And so we had to make a difficult decision. Do we stop, pause, reflect, think about, maybe even just see what the market does from a music industry standpoint?
Sure.
So that's what we decided to do, as opposed to go forward. And if we miss the mark, Memphis and May that maybe goes away, and there are a lot of them that have gone away here in the last few years. And so we did not want that to be the case. We wanted the festival as a whole to remain. So we put a pause on it for a year or two.
The point of that you're making is, and it is that planning, that money and time aspect is
Yep.
you have to make that investment basically now.
Yes.
You have to plan that
It's all
calendar.
front loaded. It's all
Yeah.
front loaded, right? So you've made the investment before you might do an early bird ticket sale type of situation where people
Sure.
don't know the lineup, but that's very limited in reach. So you're really front loading your expenses, and you're hoping you get it back on the back end. It's not unlike the Great American River Run, where we can grow it. So the more runners we have, we know that we have to order more t-shirts. It's on the back end that we're spending the money. It pays for itself. It's no different. I deal every day with sponsors. I might have a budget for fulfillment. It's going to vary, though. If all of a sudden I'm a couple $100,000 over budget, it probably means I'm going to be over budget on some expenses too, because we were successful with it. All backloaded. I'm not front loaded on the expense side of it. So that's where that model made it really difficult. And there were just also a lot of music festivals, and a lot of them, even those that have been around a long time, like we were, some others have struggled, or maybe not quite where they were a few years ago. So we weren't alone. It wasn't just a Memphis thing at all. So now we're trying to decide, what does it look like? We were bringing in Post Malone and Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion and the Foo Fighters and, acts of that nature. Do we still do that? Do we look at number of stages? Do we go back more to our roots, which was clubs on Beale Street and then some outside venues? All of those types of situations are really what the conversations are about now to try to determine what we do in 2026.
And the purpose of that is longevity. It's to stay going and stay relevant. I mean, I imagine some of that conversation maybe looking back towards Memphis itself and saying, how do we show off our talent,
Yep,
against
absolutely.
trying to compete with another city with the same act, right?
hmm So there is part of that, and so Memphis still has a strong history of producing artists, and so we want to showcase that. But in today's environment, you can't do that solely because they're looking for, the next best
Yeah.
artist out there, and you get into that kind of competition for those individuals. So it's a complex
Yeah.
scenario. Doing a music festival is no easy feat. Many people have tried, and the list of those that are really making large profitable margins off of it are very far and few. It used to be fairly easy to do that, but now it's a lot more challenging. And as post COVID, labor costs and all the things that it takes to produce, all of those have gone up as well. So
Mhm.
that impacts everyone. And so now the end user, the consumers of buying the tickets, really it's not as affordable as it used to be to go to a music festival.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, and that's it. I'm from Detroit. I cut my teeth on, and I still take pride in a lot of those events used to be free, and now
Yeah.
now, I mean, even just to create a gate, that's $10 or something, it does become a hurdle, and now we have some that are $200-300 a day to attend, and you either plan your summer around a couple of big events, or you look
Yeah.
for smaller ones, or things that
Yeah.
are more accessible. Um, so looking towards 2026, if we're a fan of Memphis in May, we haven't been, how do you what do you recommend, for someone who's gonna visit for the first time?
Yeah, so there's a lot to do in our city. That's the great part, right? So besides coming to the festival events, and I would highly encourage to come to the World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest. Plan on coming. It's always the weekend after Mother's Day, so around May 13th through the 16th of 2026. And the reason I say to plan to attend that event, it is unique. Like our music festival, as successful it had been, when people asked me 20 years ago, which is your favorite event? I always pointed towards the barbecue because it was just different than what any other event is. The teams build these elaborate displays. I mean, it is just a spectacle, right? So it's like nothing else that you would see where you go to a music event. Yes, there can be differences, but you're going for just the music. But while you're here in town, you can get your uh, feel of music by visiting Beale Street. We have some great museums. The Stax Museum is wonderful and portrays about how Stax Records and its start. Same with Sun Studios, where Elvis Presley recorded. You got Graceland, where he grew up, or where he lived while he was in Memphis. So there's a lot of great music history. In addition to that, we have a wonderful zoo. We have a beautiful children's museum. So there's something to do for everyone. And while we may have like 200 barbecue restaurants, we have some other restaurants that are just mouth-watering, will leave you wanting more. So I think Memphis has a great vibe about it. And I
Yeah.
think that's why our tourism keeps increasing year after year, Daniel.
Well, I think it might be in part to ambassadors like yourself, Kevin, who, if, as I ask you, sell your festival, you're selling the entire city
Yeah.
and pushing people, which is, I mean, I think that's fantastic. That's the purpose of your festival is to be the entry point to Memphis for the world. So learning about, your these kind of highlight events of the River Run
Mm.
and the barbecue festival, to Beale Street Music Festival coming back, to basically how you are not just, it's not just within the gates of your festival, but you are bringing, students in,
Mhm.
you're making business connections with the rest of the world. I think it's a wonderful model that as cities are looking, how do we make a bigger impact in the world? They can look at Memphis in May and say, we can do this while having a good time.
Mm. Yes.
This isn't just spending dollars that may or may not work. We can entertain our people, and by showing off our local community and culture, we're going to be a magnet to the rest of the world, including across oceans. You know,
So
so
very
that
true.
incredible, incredible. Well, I want to thank you, and I'd like to thank Kat Bay, who connected us from the National
Yes.
Cherry Festival. I know you guys have a strong network, so I look forward to watching the progress and visiting you, hopefully in person soon.
We would love for
And
you to come be a part of our event.
that'd be wonderful. That'd be wonderful. Well, very good. I think people check out Memphis in May. I'll put the social links and everything, so people can pencil in on their calendar. We're looking towards the middle of May, the weekend after Mother's Day, so we can go with an empty stomach and ready to get our stomachs and hearts filled up with the spirit of Memphis. So, all right, thank you so much for joining today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Big thanks to Kevin Grothe for joining me and sharing the story behind Memphis in May, a festival that celebrates Memphis culture while building international bridges, one barbecue plate and one partnership at a time. Whether it's through pitmaster competitions, student exchanges, or citywide pride, Kevin and the team behind Memphis in May have helped shape an event that does more than entertain. It creates connections, and it puts Memphis on a global map. Now, if you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to follow Event Explorer on your favorite podcast app. Please leave a review and share the episode with someone who loves festivals as much as you do. It really goes a long way and helps get more ears and eyes on the podcast. And if there's a city or celebration you think we should feature next, send me a note at daniel@eventexp.org. I'd love to hear from you. Well, until next time, I'm Daniel Roth. Happy exploring.